Good morning. So today we're going to start on our hands and feet, knees, sorry. So find a comfortable pose for your knees especially. So if you have knee problems, please put something underneath your knees, not too soft. And if you really have big knee problems, you can always take a sock or a tiny towel and make like a donut, and then you place it under your knees. Just make sure that they're both at the same height. And then see if we can find a neutral spine. So the wrist underneath the shoulders, the bones are stacked on top of each other, so there's little muscle effort. And now for a moment, press your fingers into the floor, so all fingers, including the thumb, and lift the heel of the hand. You should feel quite a lot of activation into the arm. And then bring the heel of the hand back down. Tuck your toes, and so really tucking the toes under, inclusive the little toe if he wants to, and then press your heels back. And now bring your heels a little bit more forward and feel that stretch at the base of your toes. So it's quite subtle, but you should feel like just a gentle little stretch at the base of your toes. And then release the toes again. So the toes can stay untucked. If your ankles are very stiff, you can always place a little roll under here. So from here, we're going to start by warming up the spine. So I'm going to start, as I start my day every day, with cat and cow. So take a breath in and a breath out, and feel your spine neutral. So lengthen your neck, look down. And then let's take a breath in and start to lift the tailbone and drop the belly button. And imagine your spine is rolling like a wave. So one vertebrae at a time coming up. Keep the shoulders back and then look up. And then as you exhale, bring the tailbone down, belly button up. Round your spine. So the last thing to go down is your head, and the very last thing, your chin, goes to your chest. So don't make it a movement just like that, where you move head and tail at the same time. We really want to go one vertebra at a time. So let's go here for 5 long breaths. So inhaling and exhaling. See if you can breathe through the nose to really stay connected with the breath. And then let slowly the breath take over the rhythm. So the breath is going to guide your movement. Keep your arms strong and straight. So we don't want to start bending the elbows here. Keep your fingers pressing down. And then slowly, after your last exhale, coming back to a neutral spine. Let's just gently move forward. So we're gonna create a little bit of stretch at the back of the wrist. So if you have wrist injuries, then you move your hands forward. Otherwise, just very gentle, don't push it here. So we're gonna move our body forward, bringing more weight into the hands, and then just observe the feeling. Maybe you can go a little bit further, keeping the arms straight, and then press yourself back. And come up onto your knees just to be able to shake out your wrist. So bring the hands back down. By all means, if your wrists are not comfortable, come onto your fists here. And we're gonna stretch out the right leg and then press the heel away. So again, those toes are on the floor, but this time we're stretching the heel, we're stretching the leg. Strong arms, really strong arms. So as if you want to push the floor down and then reach your heel back and then release. And then do the other side. So left toes down, heel pressing back. You should really use quite a lot of force here in your arms, in your leg, keeping the hips parallel with each other, and then move back. And now from here, we're gonna look towards the right. So keeping the spine neutral is just the neck that's turning, exhaling towards the center. Inhaling towards the left and exhaling towards the center. Let's do this 2 more times each side. So again, follow your breath. Don't sink into your shoulders. So we want to keep that spine neutral, the core supporting us. And last time, please always follow your rhythm. And then coming back to center. We're gonna bend the left arm and point the left fingers towards the right corner of your mat. Your right hand can just gently rest onto the floor. So your right elbow can be bent. So we're just doing this to have a little bit more support. And then lift your right knee up. And then bring your right knee towards your right elbow and then circle and then up. So loosening up the hip joint gently with support of our arm. So it's really try not to tighten up too much. It's not about going as big a circle as you can. It's really about feeling that hip socket and the femur lubricating itself. And then change direction. Keep your foot flexed. Maybe you feel your core engaging here. And then coming back. And coming back up onto all fours. Bend your right arm, right fingers to the left corner. Lift your left leg and same thing. So first to the elbow, to the right knee, and then circle. See if you can coordinate with your breath. Keeping the left foot flexed. And then changing direction. Maybe that allows you to bring it a little bit higher or not. And then coming back to center. Let's bring the hands at the front of the mat and inhale, come into a plank onto our knees. So adjust your knees maybe a little bit more back, your wrist underneath the shoulders. Take a breath in, roll the shoulders back, activate the core, and then exhale. Press into your hands, push your hips back. So we don't need to touch our forehead to the floor. We want to obtain that long spine. So press your fingers into the mat, roll the shoulders out, and push your hips back. One more breath here. With your next inhale, let's come back to the front. And let's do this 3 or 4 times, following your breath. So the wrists, the shoulders, the hips, and the knees are moving here. And then coming back to the front and walking your hands a little bit more back. So again, we're back in our tabletop. So if your wrist is hurting really, like you can also come onto your forearm for what we're gonna do. It doesn't work for all the movements and then it needs just a little bit more adjustments. So we're gonna reach the left leg back, press your heel away. So you wanna have the leg at the height of your hip. Your core is active. If my core is not active, I'm falling into my hips. So I really wanna press that leg back, activate the core. So left leg is back, toes are pointing down. If you need to, you can always put your toes onto the floor and then reach your right arm forward as if someone is pulling you forward and you are pressing with your heel back. Maybe you're gonna feel the diagonal stretch into your body. Inhaling, exhaling. And then release. And let's go to the other side. So take your time to find that strength into your body so that you can be stable and still breathe. Press your heel back and then reach your left arm forward. Strong supporting arm. Again, if you fall here, your whole body is going to start to collapse. So everything works together. And then release. And we're gonna this time bend the left knee and lift the left leg up. So you're pressing your thigh up. Push it up again. If you want, you can bring the right hand onto your left foot and then pull the left foot back, lift the thigh and open your right shoulder. But if your balance is not there today, then just keep your hand onto the floor and really work. This is a strengthening of the hamstring and an opening of the quadricep. So curving in the spine, every inhale, maybe go a little bit higher and then release. And then let's go to the other side. So right leg lifts up. Just this, do this first to really feel how your back leg has to work, your bum to lift up. And then opposite hand grabs the foot and then lift it up. And then release. And then now just move gently. So just do what you need to do. Watch out, we just did a gentle back bend. So you want to be conscious that you don't want to immediately go into a rounding of the spine. So just move maybe your elbows as well. And then bring your hands to the front of the mat, your knees a little bit to the back of your hips. Tuck your toes and come to the front. So we're again almost in our plank onto our knees. And then strong arms, lift your knees up just a little bit. So we're hovering. So we're not in a full plank, which actually makes it a little bit more difficult. And then bring the knees down. And then again, lift up just a little bit. And then bring the knees down. And then slowly walk your hands back. And again, release. So we're gonna bring one foot forward, straight corners. So if you need to hold on to something, that's fine. Especially here, watch out for your knee because we're really gonna come onto the kneecap. So if you need to put something under your knee, do so, please. So start to lift your left leg and maybe you can grab it, maybe not. So this is a good one to do against the wall, but with camera, it's actually difficult to show, and I know not everybody has a wall. So stretching, so maybe you don't feel, you're like surprising that you don't feel anything. Then start to bend, drop your hips a little bit, and then you will feel the stretch into your quadricep. So no work in the back leg this time, pure stretch in the front. And then drop, sorry, that was a little bit hard. Drop your foot down. Place your hands down, right knee goes back, left foot goes forward and come up. And then same thing, so grab your foot. Maybe you can't reach there. If you have pants, you can grab your pants or you can just stay here. It won't stretch, it will strengthen, but it's the best alternative. So if you're stable, you can grab with both hands. And then again, maybe bend a little bit more into the front knee so that your hips lower and you feel more of a stretch. And then slowly come back. Place the hands down, bring the knees back together, separate your knees, bring the big toes together. And for a moment, let's go into a wide knees child's pose. So reach your arms forward, but roll the shoulders out. Press the thumb and the index into the floor. And before you go down with your head, take a breath in and then press your hips a little bit more back, maybe a little bit closer towards your heels. And then now bring the forehead down. So the forehead should be resting on something to become more a relaxation pose. So please add pillows or blocks underneath. If you prefer to do child's pose with your knees together, it's your practice, so you choose. Continue that lengthening in the spine, following your breath. And then inhale, come back up. Bring the knees as wide as the hips. Walk your hands a little bit more forward. And let's come into plank this time. Full plank. So just to determine the distance for your downward dog. And then from here, bend your knees, press into your hands, and start to lift your hips up. To adjust your feet if you need to, spread out your fingers, roll the shoulders out. Your knees are still bent here. So roll the shoulders out and lift your hips and find that length again into your spine. Inhale, exhale, and now very gently start to walk your dog. So you can stay for a few breaths on one side to really feel that deep stretch, or you can walk at the rhythm of your breath. It's what your body needs this morning, or maybe what you feel like doing. But sometimes what we feel like doing is what we're very comfortable with. And why not go to a little bit of discomfort? But again, it all depends on your state of mind in this moment. If you're just looking for peace and quiet, by all means go to comfort, and eventually just touch on the discomfort and see how you react. So be gentle with yourself, have compassion with yourself, for yourself. So I'm very gently walking. Whatever you do is whatever you need. And then bending both knees, lifting the hips, keeping the knees bent if your hamstrings are tight, and bring the heels down. So long upper body, roll the shoulders out. Inhale, exhale. And then coming back on your knees. So we're gonna turn towards the long side of our mat so that we can have that support. So place your hands onto your hips and bring the left leg out. So your toes are pointing forward, the foot is flat on the floor as best as possible. So you don't want to be here too much. You really want to have that hold onto the floor. And then your upper body, your shoulders in line with, so your right shoulder is in line with your right hip. Take a breath in, find your position. So make any adjustments if needed. And then inhale, reach your arms up. So strong legs, even if you feel that you are not able to really press down with the left foot, make sure your right leg is strong, your left leg is strong. And then bring the left arm towards the left leg. Lengthen out on the right side and start to go over. We won't go that far, our leg is out. So when we do this standing, then this leg will be parallel with the other one. So we have a little bit more space. Here, the hip bone comes up, so we don't have that much space. So don't feel that, what happens with my body this morning? It's all okay. So it's about creating that length here. So reach your arm up and overhead. And then turn the palm to the front. Show the armpit to the front. And then coming back. And then bring the right hand down. Rest underneath the shoulder and start to lift the left leg. So you don't want to go and press your hips back here. You really want to go and press your hips forward. Maybe lifting the leg. If lifting the leg is too much, keep the inside of your foot hovering or just gently touching the floor. So press. We're working on our stability here. When we do standing stability poses, we need a lot of strength into our hip stabilizers. So that's what is being done. And then reach your left arm up. Keep on breathing. Upper body is long, so we're not sinking here. So if you're lower, watch out that you don't sink. So we want to keep that upper body same as when we do a triangle, so long. And then release, bring the left knee next to the right. Take a breath in. And this time, right foot comes to the side. So long, strong right leg. Foot is flat on the floor, toes pointing to the front. And then inhale, reach up. Lengthen your upper body. The more space we have, the more space we have also to go to the side. Bring the right hand down. Lengthen out. And then exhale, go to the right. So one side can be very different than the other. You can place your hand into your hip crease or even higher to maybe go find a little bit more space, but don't force it. And then turn the palm to the front. At the same time, you're opening your shoulder, your armpit is showing forward. Keep on breathing here. And then inhale, come back up. Place your left hand down. And then start to lift your right leg. So find the stability first here, and then reach up with your right arm. Flex your foot, active right leg. And then release, bring the knee down. Bring both legs down and release. So one more on the knees and then we'll sit onto our bum. So it's a little bit different sequence today, but change is good. So placing your hands onto your bum, fingers pointing down, so you don't have to hold onto your bum, just very lightly there. Roll the shoulders back. You can tuck or untuck your toes, whatever is more stable for you. Roll the shoulders back. Start to press your hips forward gently. So we don't want to go too much forward. We want to keep our hips on top of our knees, but often when we go back, we actually do this. We're going to go into a back bend. So starting from the head, shoulders go back, upper back starts to bend backwards. And see how far you can go. If you want, you can bring your arms a little bit lower, holding onto your thighs. You can look forward or look to the ceiling. Just don't drop your head back. Keep on breathing, especially. If you feel a crunch in the lower back, you want to come up and you want to bring the tailbone a little bit lower to create some more space. If that's not possible, it's probably you're going a little bit too deep. So don't crunch into your lower back. Take 2 more breaths here. And then inhale, come back up. Untuck the toes and let's go sit onto our heels, just giving us a time to realign the spine. And then slowly, let's come and sit onto our bum. So if you know that you're easily falling back, sit on something. So we want to sit on the front of our sitting bones. So sit on the edge of a blanket or a pillow or something, and then you can tilt into your hips, okay? So legs are long in the front, roll the shoulders back, activate your core, feel the chest lifting. So the upper body is almost as if we're in Tadasana, mountain pose. The legs are as if we're in Tadasana, so your heels press away, your legs are strong, your toes are active, pointing up. And then inhale, reach the arms up, and maybe we'll find a little bit more length into our upper body. It's not about the shoulders reaching the ears. So bring the shoulder blades back and down. Inhale, exhale. And then bring the left arm down and go over to the side. So keeping your legs very active here. Inhale, exhale, go over. You can bend your left elbow by all means. And then reach for the left corner with your right arm. Reach for your toes. And then coming all the way to the side, place your right hand onto the floor. Lift your left arm up, lengthening out. Exhale, reach to the right. Inhale, creating space. Keep your left bum onto the floor. So you don't want to go and lean on one side. Inhale, exhale. So feel that opening. And then reaching towards the right, swinging your arms, maybe tickling your toes, and then coming back up. Bringing the hands at the height of the hips. So it's really important that your hands are not here because then you're going to round, or not here because then you're going to curve the spine. So you want to place your hands really here. If the proportion of arms and upper body are not the same, so if your arms are longer, this is okay. If your arms are shorter, you might want to come onto your fist or even onto a block. So from here, straight active legs. So if your legs are not active, they're going to be an extra weight. So from here, press into your hands and lift your bum. Roll the shoulders back. So long body. Maybe you can lift your right leg and then down. Maybe you can lift your left leg and then down. Just watch out as you lift not to compensate. So we really want to lift. Maybe we can lift both legs, but maybe not. And then come down. So legs in front. Take a deep breath in and a long breath out. Bring the right foot in and over. So we're going to go for a twist. If you're okay to bend the left knee, then you can bend the left knee, but you have to be able to sit on your both cheeks from your buttocks. So if you're like leaning like this, just keep your leg to the front. So take a breath in, place your hands underneath your knee and lengthen your spine. So again, we want to roll to the front of our sitting bones to find that length. And then hold on with your left hand to your right knee and then reach your right arm up. Inhale, and as you exhale, bring the right hand in the back. You want to come as close as possible to your spine. And then option for the left arm. Inhaling up, you can bring the left elbow on the outside of the right knee, or you can hug your knee, which is going to give you a little bit more support to find that length and then to find the twist. So twist to the back. Inhale, exhale. So every inhale, I create a little bit more space. Every exhale, I twist a little bit more. And then slowly coming back to center. Let's gently do a counter twist. So not forcing, just turning to the other side very gently. You don't need to go to the maximum. And then coming back to center, lengthen your right leg, bring the left foot in and over. And again, if you want to bend that right knee under, make sure you sit on both your cheeks. So for a moment, interlace your hands below your knee, lengthen your spine, make sure you're sitting on the front of the sitting bones. And then reach the left arm up, create again that length, really from your hips to your fingertips. And as you exhale, bring the left arm into the back. Inhale, lengthen. Option for the right arm, lifting up, elbow on the outside of the left knee, or you hug your knee in. Inhale, and then exhale, rotate. Inhale, exhale. And then slowly coming back and slight counter rotation. And then coming back to center. We're going to bring the heels of the feet together so our knees and feet are forming a diamond. If your knees are very high, that's okay. If they're almost touching the floor, that's fine too. Everybody's built differently into their knees. And again, we want to make sure we're sitting on the front sitting bones. So move your bum out of the way here. Roll the shoulders back. Hold on to your ankles. If you can hold on to your toes, Probably your feet are much closer towards your groin area, but you need to be able to keep your spine straight. So wherever you are, find a place and maybe touch on that discomfort here. So discomfort is not pain, it's just something new, or maybe not so new, but that you know, like, if I have a choice, but that's your mind talking, and the mind is very powerful. So rolling the shoulders back, lengthening the spine. Just see if here, with your exhale, you can release in the hips. So often we're like all tense into the hips, into the bum. So see if you can just let go, release, and something's gonna happen with your knees. So inhale, you can pull onto your toes or your ankles to go forward with a straight back. No pain in the lower back, okay? So we're just folding a little bit more forward. Maybe not for you, maybe you're already here, that's already enough. So just go where you are. And then very slowly, we're gonna bring the elbows to the side and then start to round the spine, pressing the elbows or the forearms gently into the legs. So every exhale, again, send that release to your hips. Drop your head, your spine is rounded. Inhaling, exhaling, releasing the hips. So if your mind is wandering now about all other things but your hips, see just for a couple of breaths if you can really bring your attention towards your hips. And then very slowly coming up. Bring the hands on the outside of the knees and then bring the knees together. And lengthen out your legs. Place your hands in the back and just release. So just moving the legs from side to side. We're gonna separate the legs, toes are pointing up. And this is a big stretch for the inner thighs and also the hamstrings. So I'm gonna be quite careful here because I have a recurring injury on my ligament here and I feel it coming up. So it's just being aware. I'm not gonna stop practicing, but I'm gonna be very much aware of how I'm moving. So that's an invitation for you to do the same thing. It's the same thing with food. If you know that certain food upset your stomach, maybe what they always say, don't do it, don't overdo it. Or maybe see even like if I approach it from a different point, how is this gonna work for me? So maybe I don't need to go and kiss the floor here. Maybe this is just where I am. So your fingers are in the back. Come onto your fingertips so you can create a little bit more space into your spine. So again, we're sitting at the front of our sitting bones. So maybe you can walk your hands a little bit more towards your bum. And then from the hip crease, start to fold forward. If this is easy peasy for you, you can definitely bring your hands in the front as long as you don't fall back on the back of your sitting bones. So inhale and then slowly go forward. Spine remains straight. Inhale. If your hamstrings are very tight, I would suggest that you bend your knees a little bit, but place something under your knees so that they have way to go and they don't have to hold up. If you have to hold, then nothing can relax. Inhale, exhale. And again, drop your head, round your spine, letting go. Maybe your hands are all at the front, or maybe you're still holding in the back. But make sure your legs are active, your toes pointing up. And then slowly coming back. So last one here, and then we'll move into a little bit more movement. So separate your feet wider than your hips. Your hands can be in the back. Just watch out that you don't sink completely into your back. So have some support from your hands, fingers pointing forward or back. It's really what's more comfortable for you. And then we're going to bring the knees over towards the right. So your left knee is going to touch or almost touch the right heel. See if you can keep your shoulders in the same position. So it's generating a little twist into the spine, mostly in the middle spine here, or it starts in the middle spine, but also into your hips. So if your left knee is quite high, but your right knee is all the way down to the floor, so that's an inner rotation that's a little bit more challenging for you. If it's the reverse, then it's the outer rotation that's a little bit more challenging. If it's both, then it's both, and that's okay. So sometimes we can just know where we have to work on. And so this is a really good one to just do also in the morning as you wake up, to wake up that the spine, wake up the hips, the lower back, but especially the hip joint. So in one side can be very different, very more challenging than the other. Even if you achieve the same position, you might feel a stretch. So move a few times from one side to the other, breathing, releasing. So there's not an active stretch. It's a very passive stretch here. And then let's come back to center. Bring the legs back together, and we're gonna come back onto our hands and knees. Bring the hands at the front of the mat, the knees at the back. Come into our plank onto our knees, and then coming all the way down. Bring the hands at the height of the breast, so not under the shoulders, but lower. Roll the shoulders back, elbows back. Press the top of your feet into the floor. So if you have very tight ankles, you might have to put your toes down to just find that comfort, because you don't want to be holding here and then the rest of your body will not be able to move. So roll the shoulders back, and then inhale, lift yourself up. So pure work in the lower back here with a little support from your hands. So we're not pressing into the floor. We're holding onto the floor, but it's that balance between pushing down and receiving from the floor. Inhale, looking down. So don't drop your head. Keep your neck in line with your spine. And feel your lower back muscles getting quite active. Don't press your belly button down. And then exhale, come down. One more time. Inhale, roll the shoulders back. Come up. Maybe you come up a little bit higher. So quite important for your lower back to strengthen. Less important, but sometimes needed, to stretch it. The stretch, the forward fold comes from your hamstrings. And then release. And I'm not sure you can see me, but so just listen. So bring your right arm in a T. So keep your head lifted for a moment. You can separate your feet as wide as your hips, and then slowly start to roll over onto your right side. So your left leg is gonna go over and to the back. Eventually, like if we were very flexible into the shoulders, we would be on our back. And then the left arm, depending how comfortable this pose is, you can place it in the back. You can place the left hand in the front. You can definitively drop your head down or on a block, and then see how far we're going. So this is a big stretch for your shoulder. So keep on breathing. Find some comfort in the discomfort. And then slowly coming back. And we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. So stretch out your left arm and then roll over onto your left side. Bring the right leg back and then see what you can do with your left arm. So there's a lot of weight here on the shoulder, probably more at the front of the shoulder. And we're opening up the front of the shoulder mainly. So the more you roll back, the more you're opening the front of the shoulder. And then slowly coming back. Placing both hands under your shoulders, tucking the toes, roll the shoulders back, and come into your downward dog. So find your dog again. Don't anticipate already the next pose, but really be present into this beautiful downward dog pose. It's a pose that's going to give you eventually a lot of peace, because it's a real balancing of the energies in this. Pushing from the hands all the way up to the hips and then coming down to the heels. Inhale, exhale. Let's lift the right leg up, bend the right knee and open the hips. So right hip is stacked on top of the left. If you look under your left armpit, you should be able to see your right foot. And you really want to open. Try not to curve your spine too much and stay with equal weight into both your hands. And then lift your right leg up as high as you can this time. So press your heel up, press into your hands, reach up. And then bend your knee and bring your right foot between your hands. So if you don't reach all the way, I'm just gonna demo, then place your foot down, grab your ankle and bring it forward. So your foot knows which movement to make. Drop your left knee. If you need a block to have a bit more space, place it under your left hand. And then we're gonna reach the right arm forward. So your front knee is on top of the front heel. You might feel some stretch into the left front thigh. And then reach your arm up, turn the palm outwards, and then make a big circle. So with the movement we just did for the opening of the shoulder, this might feel a bit more comfortable. So even if one is not comfortable, it helps with the other. So one more time here, big circle. And then bring the right hand next to the right foot. And this time, lengthen your spine first, reach your heart forward and start to open up, reaching the right hand up. If you want to go further, by all means, lift your left knee and open up even more. Your right knee points towards the middle of your right toes. So you don't want to have your right knee drop out. So strong body, keep on breathing. And then exhale, come down. So we're gonna go to the other side, but lift your knee, walk your hands all the way to the left so that we can go to the other side. So bring the right knee down this time, left knee on top of the left heel, reach your left arm forward. So if you don't have enough space here, because the proportion of your arm compared to your lower leg, by all means, come onto your fist or come onto a block so that you have space to move when we're moving. And we first want to create space and then inhale, reach up, turn the palm. It's going to turn your shoulder and then come down. 2 more times here. And then place the left hand down. Strong supporting arm. Inhale, open up. So lengthen and feel the twist into your spine. Keep the knee pointing forward. Again, if you want to go further, stretch out your right leg. You can look up if you want. You can open up a little bit more. Don't just throw your arm back. So keep the arm connected to the upper body. And then come back down. Bring the left foot back and come into your plank. Knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. Take a breath in. This time, lift your left leg up, bend your left knee and open up towards the left. So left hip on top of your right hip. If you look under your right arm, you can see your left foot. Press into your hands. Long spine here. There is a twist, but you want to create that space. And then lift your left leg up as high as you can. And this time bring the left foot down. Take a breath in and a breath out. So again, finding the downward dog, making it a full pose, not just transition from one to the other. Take a breath in, a breath out. I'm going to give you the option to jump forward and the feet are going to land on the outside of the hands, or you just walk forward. If you want to jump, bend your knees, look forward so that you know where you're going. Maybe bring your hands a little bit closer and then hop your feet as wide as your mat. And then gently come and sit down. So not sitting on the floor, but just sitting in this very comfortable pose. And I know most of you don't believe me, but eventually this becomes extremely comfortable. So no weight on the back. The knees are fully bent. So if you have knee problems, you want to sit on something. You don't want to put all that strain onto the knee. Bring the palms together, elbows on the inside. So even if you're sitting on the floor, you can do this with your knees bent. Keep your feet strong then if you're sitting on the floor, and then start to open your hip and lengthen your upper body. So rolling the shoulders back. Inhale, exhale. And then release your hands. Bring the left hand onto the floor. Left arm and left leg are touching. Lift your left heel and reach your right arm up. So this time, see how far you can go back. Again, not just throwing your arm back, but have your whole chest following. The support, your left arm is pressing onto your left leg is stopped by your left arm. So we can go maybe a little bit further and then coming back. Same thing on the right, so right hand on the floor, right arm, right leg touching, right heel lifts, and then reach your left arm up. So opening up maybe a little bit more. And then slowly coming back. So this time we're gonna lift both heels and then start to lift your hips up, keeping the hands onto the floor. Bring the heels down so your toes and heels are your feet are parallel to each other. Drop your head, keep your knees bent. Take a breath in, release into your hips. So if you want, you can bring your feet a little bit closer or you can stay here. Inhale, exhale. So maybe your belly is resting on your thighs or passing in between. That's all fine. Your head is heavy. Drop it down. And then slowly walk your hands towards the left. Walk your right hand, especially far away, without moving your hips towards the right. So we really want to go and find that opening on the back of your right shoulder this time. So keeping the hips. At the same time, our legs are working a little bit. And then coming back to center and then walk to the right. Especially your left hand is going to open up that back of the left shoulder. And then coming back to the center. Separate your feet again so your toes are pointing forward a little bit wider than the hips. Place your hands onto your thighs and let's sit into a wide chair. And then press into your feet and come all the way up and release. So coming into our mountain pose. Taking a deep breath in and a long breath out. Maybe closing your eyes. Feeling your mountain pose. So if you feel that something is asymmetric or maybe you're working too much on one side or a part of your body is working quite hard, see if you can help with other parts of your body. So if your legs are like this, your whole body is going to collapse. If your legs are straight, almost automatically your core is going to get active. If your core is not active, your upper body is going to fall. So if you stay here for a minute or two, it's not gonna make a lot of differences. But if this becomes a habit, you'll start to really sag forward. So activate the core, lift the chest, bring the shoulders back, shoulder blades down, lengthen the neck, and beautiful mountain pose. Practice this as much as you can. So we have to stand in line quite a lot these days, so you can just stand there. It might look weird, but who cares? So let's take 2 more breaths here. And then bring the hands onto our hips. Lift the right heel up. Strong supporting leg. So left leg is our supporting leg. Open the knee, open the hip. Don't go too far, don't twist. And then come into your expression of the tree pose with your legs. So foot below the knee or toes on the floor, heel on the inside, or you can bring your foot all the way up. If your foot is all the way up, press your foot into your thigh and thigh into your foot, and strong upper body. So again, if you collapse here, it's really gonna be a weight onto your standing leg. And then because it's not an active weight, you're gonna start to fall out. So support yourself. It's all happening in your container. And then if you want, hands in front of the heart, and I'm gonna be a cactus today because it's so warm. I feel like being a cactus. But if you wanna be a beautiful oak tree, or maybe a poplar. So continue supporting yourself by your supporting leg, but everything else too. So and then very slowly bring the hands back in front of the heart, back at the hip, bring your knee to the front and bring your foot down. So important in almost all poses, but especially balanced poses, is that if you feel that you're falling out, see if you can fall out with elegance, meaning that you want to be able to also control the coming out of the pose, even in case if it's falling out. So staying very mindful with your body. So come back into your mountain pose, hands onto the hips, and the right leg becomes your supporting leg. So lift your left knee, left heel, open up and go to the same height as the other side. Now, if you say, oops, I forgot and I didn't know I couldn't go that high, maybe explore, even if you have to support yourself on a wall. Of course, if it's something to do with some injury or so, then I want you to be careful. But sometimes we just in our mind think or do things by habits. That one side is this way and the other side this way, and eventually we want to reach symmetry in our body. So only when you're stable, you're going to add your hands, because your arms are going to catch the wind. So you start to sway a little bit more maybe. And then just focus on a point about 2-3 meters in front of you. And then slowly, hands in front of your heart, onto your hips, and release. And if you want, you can shake out your legs. You can also start to move a little bit around, keeping the arms relaxed to the side. And then coming back to center. So let's stand in our mountain pose again. And just to, maybe you remember the feeling that it gave when we were going to the side. So now we're gonna bring our hands onto the elbows and our legs are straight. So we don't have the leg to the side like we were having before. Our legs are straight, we're in mountain pose. Take a breath in, roll your shoulders back and down, and then lean over to the right. So in between two walls, lift your right elbow up, bring your left elbow down. And see if you can lift your right elbow a little bit higher to really go and stretch more the intercostal muscles, so the muscles between your ribs. So keeping that right foot solidly anchored into the floor. So both legs are strong, but we might have a tendency to lift into the right leg. So really pressing down so your hips remain very stable. And you can look up if you want to. You can look down if you want to. Or just keep looking forward. Just watch out your head doesn't pop forward. And then coming back. And then moving to the other side. So maybe feeling that difference between one side and the other. So reaching your left elbow up, your right elbow down, creating that space in between your ribs. And then come back. So now for stability, just separate your feet just a little bit. And then keep your hands onto your elbows onto your shoulders, your elbows at the height of your shoulders, and start to rotate towards the left. So we don't want to go and bend the knees. So we don't want to go that far. It's really just a rotation in the spine. And then coming back. So keeping your shoulders nice and open. If you close, we're just more going to open up the back. So we want to open the chest and create a twist in the spine. Coming back one more time each side. So stay for 2 breaths on one side. And then coming back. And then coming back and release. So we're going to do one more balance pose. Remember, we worked the hip stabilizers. So we can do it today. So if for this one you need some support, bring your hands in the back. You can bring your bum against the wall or against a door or whatever that doesn't move, or the fridge. It works all. So if you're going against the wall, your feet are about a foot and a half to the front. You can place your shoulders also against the wall to start. Separate your feet a little bit wider than your hips. So if you're not using the wall, it's the same position for your feet. Bring your hands onto your hips or onto the wall, and then bend your knees. And then bring the weight into the left leg. So again, finding that stability into your left leg. Lifting the right knee, opening the hip, and bring the foot just over the left leg. So you don't want to be on your kneecap here, so you're a little bit higher. If you're against the wall, keep your upper body straight. If you're here, start to bend your knee. You can also bend your knee if you're against the wall. If you want to go further, bring your hands in front of your heart and then start to bend from your hip crease. So go a little bit deeper, maybe feel that opening in the hip. So if you're against the wall, just place your fingertips. You can keep your bum if you need that for stability. And maybe you want to gently press off with your fingertips so that your bum comes off, but you still have that hold just with the fingertips. Try not to put the full hand onto the wall. Inhale, exhale. And then press into your foot. Come all the way up and release. Close your eyes for a moment. Take a breath in and a breath out. Hands onto the hips, bend your knees, weight onto the right leg. Lift the left, open the hip, open the knee. Find that little nook for your ankle, and then slowly start to bend your supporting leg. So maybe this is already enough for you. Again, when you're at the wall, you know what to do. So explore a little bit, go a little bit further, and then exhale, go forward. And then press into your foot. Come up and release. And shake it out. So separate your feet quite wide. So as if you were gonna do a warrior one, a warrior two. But for now, place your hands in, your fingers into your hip crease, your thumbs in the back. Roll the shoulders back. Your toes are slightly pointing inwards. And then with a straight back. So roll the shoulders back, bring the elbows back, start to fold forward. So again, for me today, I'm not gonna go too far here. As I said, recovering or reoccurring injury here. Even bending my right leg to allow my hamstring to relax a little bit. But better is to just not go that deep. So wherever you are, you can be parallel, you can be even deeper. Just make sure that your spine is still neutral for now. And then slowly coming back up. Bring the left toes towards the short side of your mat, and then the right toes for your warrior one. So about 60 degrees, and then move your hips towards the short side of your mat. So adjust your feet so that you can be stable. Your heels don't have to be on one line unless you have super flexible hips. And then start to bend your front knee just a little bit, and then press into your front foot and come back. Press your back foot into the floor. Keep that back leg straight, and then bend your front knee again. So lots of work. Maybe you even feel a stretch in the front of your right leg, and come back up. And if this so far is all good and you're ready with your knee on top of your ankle, then walk your left foot a little bit more to the front. So from here, reach your arms up, press the outside of your back foot into the floor. Keep your hips parallel with the front of the mat as much as possible. And then take a breath in, and then exhale, open up to the right. Inhale, back to the center, and exhale towards the left. And now inhale, back to the center. Exhale, bring the arms towards the back, interlace your hands, bend your elbows, roll the shoulders back, lengthen. So watch out with that back leg that it doesn't start to bend. Maybe go a little bit deeper. And then pull your hands back and start to open your chest. So shoulder blades come together and back bend. So bending in your whole spine, not just the lower back. Keep the front foot, the front knee down, bent, sorry. I think my brain is starting to cook. Inhale, exhale. And then release, lengthen your front leg, come back to the front and turn to the other side. So adjust your feet so that you're stable, so that your hips can be parallel with the front. Strong back leg, and then start to bend your front knee. And press into your front foot, but at the same time, you're also pressing into your back foot. And come up. Let's do this 2 more times. And then exhale. Stay here. Reach your arms up. Exhale, go a little bit deeper maybe. Eventually, your front thigh will be parallel with the floor, but your back heel, your outside of your back foot is strongly pressing into the floor, so you don't fall on the inside of your foot. Take a breath in and then open up towards the left. So it's not a warrior two. Your back foot is not a warrior two foot. Inhale up, keep your knee bent. Exhale towards the right. And then inhale up. And then exhale, hands in the back. Interlace your hands in a different way. So we always go same way. Roll the shoulders back, lengthen out, and open up again. Inhale, maybe bend the front knee, press the back foot into the floor. And then release, come back, and bring your feet down, your feet together. So stand again into your mountain pose. Feel how your body is doing. And we're gonna slowly move towards the floor. Inhaling, exhaling. So coming to the front of our mat. Mountain pose. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Bend your knees in time for your lower back. And then bring the left leg back, the right leg back, and come into your plank. Knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. 2 more times with this flow if you want to. If not, go into child's pose. Inhale, knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, downward dog. And one more time at your own rhythm. And then downward dog. And then bring the knees down and turn around. So bring the legs towards the front. Placing your hands behind your thighs. Feet stay on the floor, so you don't have to press them down. Just rest them. Roll the shoulders back and then gently go back a little bit. Inhale, go back a little bit. Inhale, go back a little bit and then gently let yourself roll onto the floor. Bring the knees into the chest and maybe give yourself a little massage. Lengthen your left leg. Bring the right hand on the right knee, left hand on your left hip bone, and gently open up towards the side. So your right upper arm can be on the floor as a support. Press your left hip down. So we don't want to go onto our side here. And then slowly coming back. Left hand on your right knee. Open the right arm in a T and rotate towards the left. So this time your right bum can lift. Your left foot turns out, keeping the right shoulder onto the floor. And then slowly coming back. Bring the knee back into the center. Keep your arms towards the side or alongside your body. It doesn't matter. Reach your leg up. And then very slowly bring the leg a little bit over the center. So just very gently, keeping the leg straight. So if you're here, that's fine too. We just want to go gently over the center. Keep your pushing the heel away, pressing the hip down. And then coming back to center, and with an exhale, very slowly bring the right leg down. All the while, my left leg was active and supporting every movement I was doing. Bring the left knee in. Place the left hand on your left knee. Bring the right hand on your right hip bone to keep it in place. And then start to open towards the left. Inhaling, exhaling. Constantly maybe readjusting your hips so that your right hip can really remain on the floor. Right leg is active. Coming back to center, right hand on your left knee, and then roll over towards the right, left shoulder on the floor, right hip is lifting, rotation in the spine. And exhaling. So don't force it here, just let your body go where it's going. Make sure not to hold too much. And then coming back to center, bring both arms alongside your body, lift your left leg up. And then again, bring the left leg slightly towards the right. So your hips remain on the floor, your bum remains on the floor. We're just gonna open up that outer side of your left leg. Press your heel away, press the hip down, and then just go over the center. And then very slowly coming back to center and very gently bring that left leg down. Now separate your legs as wide as your mat. Windshield wipe your feet. So very relaxed. So no need to keep that 90-degree. Just relax your feet, relax your legs. If you put your hands onto your hip bones and your fingers just below, you will feel that the movement actually comes from there. And then flop your feet out. Bring your arms about 45 degrees out. Press into your head for a moment so that you can lift your shoulders and then roll the shoulders under. You're most probably a little bit too high, so wiggle yourself just a little bit out. And then release. Inhaling. Exhaling. So allow your body to release any tension. And how do we know? Maybe gently scanning your body. And every time you exhale, let go in that part of your body where you feel the tension. So often tension is in our shoulders, in our forehead, our jaw. And then start to reconnect with your breath unless you want to stay here longer. So just observing your breath. And then wiggling the toes, maybe moving the ankles a little bit. And then release your feet. And then moving the fingers, opening the palms wide and then closing, maybe moving the wrists a little bit. And release. If comfortable, moving the head very slowly from one side to the other. And then coming back to center. A smile will activate all the muscles of your face, so give yourself a big smile. And then take a deep breath in, bring your legs together, bring your arms overhead, stretch yourself out, maybe stay here for another breath. And then as you exhale, bring the knees into your chest. And then gently roll over towards your right or your left. Make a pillow with your hands. And then slowly coming up into a comfortable seated position. Connect with your heart. Whether it's your physical or your emotional heart, just connect with whatever comes up. But stay in your heart, don't go into your mind. So very often when we connect with our emotional heart, immediately thoughts are coming up. That's okay. Thoughts are a part of being human, as long as we don't stay attached to it.